First quarter, Indian Creek and Cambridge scoreless right now, nothing. So we're talking here during the break, and we have basically we want to thank Gernstein Muskingum Electric. They are providing an award for us this year, the Power Lineman of the Game. And they'll receive a T-shirt from Gernstein Muskingum Electric. Cool shirt, I saw it. So, but that leads us into a conversation. We've been talking about them quite a bit, but let's name them off right here. The Cambridge offensive lineman and the defensive lineman, because those are the guys that are going to be up for this award. And we basically said that it really starts with the Bobcats on the offensive line. So
at guard, and again, Andy at the center position, Case Wilson, another senior,
and experienced
4-year letterman at right guard, and then big Colin Conte, about 6'6", 300 pounds. And then, of course, your tight end, Justin Bartlett, will jump around. But when you have those big bookend tackles,
wow,
it really gives you some options. And then when you have some guards that can run around, and, you know, we're talking about 5 guys here up front. The Bobcats have some depth back there on that offensive line as well, so they can bring in a couple other guys to be able to give these guys a break every once in a while. But certainly have to take advantage of that size and strength of Valentine and Conte at the tackles.
Let's talk a little bit about the Bobcats' defensive line.
And then 2 guys that have lettered and been really parts of this team each of their 4 years here at Cambridge, and both can be very impact players. I mean, speaking of Bartlett, just on alone, a first-team All-Ohio selection from his defensive play last year. So,
I think Logan Mobilini was he was high.
Logan was a third-teamer or an honorable mention All-State, but Justin was certainly well deserving of those accolades last season, and he's a tough kid. Look, man, he's a heck of a wrestler as well. So Justin's certainly going to be right there defensively. But you're right, you throw Logan Mobilini in on the other side. The Bobcats defensively return a heck of a lot of experience on the defensive side.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And like I say, a lot of size up front and athletic ability too. You know, I mean, Brock he's a basketball player. He moves very, very well. For I'm not 250 pounds, but for 200,
neither is he. But
I mean, I'm telling you right now, he moves really well. That's the thing that kind of gets to you about the whole thing. You're watching him out there, and you're thinking, "Wow."
We need to get him at 250.
I got you.
And all of these kids are athletes. I mean, let's be honest. Especially a school the size of Cambridge. Look, you have to use your athletes. Athletes need to play. All of my kids have been 3-sport athletes. And, you know, your best athletes have to play all sports.
No doubt about it. Hey, let's touch base here with the Redskins offensive line. Now, another strength, as, we heard Coach, we got to hear Coach on his Channel 9 preview this year. And the first thing that Coach Andrew Connor talked about basically was his offensive line. He said, that's going to be our strength. He said, that's where it all starts for us. So they have an outstanding offensive line coming back as well.
Yes, they do. As we said at the beginning of the broadcast, this is where the game's going to be won or lost. But when you have Cottis and Jesse Bullock, anchoring that offensive line with Simmons and Donzella and Ralston, they've got a lot of size, man. That's a lot of beef up front, but a lot of experience as well. Even though they only bring back a couple starters, really, on the whole offensive unit, a lot of these guys did get some playing time.
Yeah, Cottis is right around 210, not the biggest tackle I've ever seen. Bullock, 260.
Yeah, right.
Big guy. I mean, he matches up pretty well with our tackles, but, Cottis does it a little bit different. I think he's a little bit more of an athlete.
A little bit more of an athlete and really more of an impact player on that defensive end standpoint, for sure.
Absolutely, no doubt about that,
Yeah, but
too.
Bullock's, he's definitely your go-to guy there on the offensive line.
And rounding out the offensive line, Gage Simmons, Gavin Donzilla, Garrett Rawson, 3 players with some experience there as well. So the Indian Creek Redskins not at a lack for experience, not at a lack for size, and not at a lack for toughness as far as their offensive line goes. Now, on their defensive line, they really have some outstanding athletes to talk about. Their defensive ends are really something special.
Yeah, Schaefer and Cottis, again, have been around the program for a long time, and both have been impact players. And